And moving on to a more interesting and strange phenomenon, where inside tanks filled with liquid nitrogen are the bodies and heads of 199 humans who opted to be cryopreserved with the hope of being revived in the future. Here's a closer look and a report on this strange event.
Many of the patients, as Alcor Life Extension Foundation calls them, are people who were terminally ill with cancer, ALS, or other diseases with no cure in the present day. One of those patients is May Thurn Navaratapong, the youngest person to be chronologically frozen. Her case is one of a few at Alcor that is public. Another with a terminal disease is Hal Finney, who passed away from ALS. When it comes to famous figures, Paris Hilton has reportedly signed up for cryopreservation. America's Got Talent Simon Caldwell and publicly announced his membership in 2011, but later opted out. Legendary baseball player Ted Williams, who died in 2002, is currently one of Alcor's frozen patients. Moore says he thinks of cryonics as an extension of emergency medicine, but there are skeptics in the medical world. For Dr. Arthur Kaplan, director of the Division of Medical Ethics and professor of bioethics in the New York University Grossman School of Medicine in New York City, the idea of cryonics is far-fetched. The only group that you really see getting excited about this possibility are people who are sort of specialized in studying the distant future. Cryonics is based on anticipation and in the hope that one day science will be advanced enough for the restoration of cryopreserved humans. Alcor does not make any promises or guarantees, but that hasn't stopped people from giving the company their money. It costs a minimum of $200,000 to freeze a body and $80,000 for the brain alone. Alcor says the vast majority of its members don't have that money, so they use life insurance equal to that amount, making Alcor the beneficiary of the policy.
Moving on to the sports world, and we have some interesting news with Mohamed Salah scoring the fastest hat-trick in the Champions League history as Liverpool came from behind to thrash the Rangers 7-1 on Wednesday and put them on the verge of qualification for the competition's knockout stage. Salah came off the bench in the second half with Liverpool leading 3-1 and fired a treble timed at 6 minutes and 12 seconds to turn a hard-fought win into a rot. Roberto Firmino dragged Liverpool back into the contest with a double strike, and Darwin Núñez was also on the score sheet before Harvey Elliott rounded off the scoring following Salah's goal. It appeared a much-changed Liverpool were in for further frustration in a disappointing season so far as they fell behind for the 8th time in all competitions after Scott Arfield slaughtered the home 17 minutes to the lift off the roof. That lead only lasted 8 minutes, however, as Firmino continued his prolific season with a near-post header to level things up for a corner, with Rangers chasing the game till they finish from this close season, signing Núñez, but the game beyond the hosts took Salah to take centre stage. According to Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp, the team were exceptional, adding that Mohamed Salah came on and was on fire and interprets the position really well. Coming into the match with the 45 teams to have played at least 50 games in the Champions League, only Anderlecht had a lower win against the Rangers, 12 victories in 65 games. And joining us over the phone to tell us more about the amazing achievements of Mohamed Salah is Abdel Aziz Homr, a sports critic. Good evening to you, sir. You're joining us, I know, from Qatar.
Good evening to you and to everyone.
The amazing 6-minute hat-trick that Mohamed Salah scored against the Rangers, what would you say about this? How is this an achievement? Why is this a world score, I suppose?
Well, as everyone knows, it was the fastest hat-trick ever in the UEFA Champions League. It's another record for Mohamed Salah, and even for the English football in general. Salah scored a hat-trick and took his tally also, and break the record of the all players in England, as he becomes the goal scorer, the top goal scorer of all English clubs in the UEFA Champions League.
Yes.
In fact, it was the last week saw Salah doing a lot of records, not only in Rangers, as you said in your report. It was very good. And Salah also made another history in the 1-0 over Manchester City in the English Premier League, in the 1-0 victory over Manchester City, when he scored, when he came from the bench again and scored the winning goal for Manchester City, which also made so many records. One of them mainly is Salah has become the second top goal scorer for Liverpool in the history of Liverpool in the Premier League, and only seven goals away from Robbie Fowler. In fact, a prolific player and a top professional that representing Egypt in the European football, Salah is doing his best. And as everyone knows, also he was selected as the fifth player in the global awards, which Benzema has, was granted the yes. And Salah is doing very well. Even in, as you said, Liverpool is not in his best. Salah also for in the last month, people were just starting to point the finger, but he came back. In fact, he was doing very well, and he was even the best player in Liverpool when Liverpool was not doing so much good in the league.
Yeah. Do you think, sir, that with all the achievements that Mohamed Salah is doing, like, for instance, the 6-minute hat-trick, or breaking the streak of Manchester City by scoring the only goal in the match, do you think that this will put Mohamed Salah on the road to actually win a Ballon d'Or at some point in his career?
Well, to be honest, it's Salah is doing all what it takes in football, and it looks like I'm not the man of believing in the conspiracy or something like that, but it also needs a lot of things also. Maybe Salah will be lucky enough if we see players like Lionel Messi, like already Ronaldo. They are in the spring of their footballing career, and Karim Benzema as well. Karim Benzema, as everyone knows, he's involved in football for ages, but he just finally got the award. And yes, and Salah is, I think he's the man who's coming to the top of the international football. We have Haaland only in the also on the outlook, but Salah with the great legacy, and and he's still have 2-3 more years to give the best of football in Europe. Yes, we can. This can be his next feat, his next achievement.
Yes, okay. Mr. Aziz Abu Homr, a sports critic, thank you so much for joining us over the phone. We're going to take a short break and get back to our final item of this episode. And our final item is Karim Benzema winning the Ballon d'Or, where Karim Benzema's focus on being a team player was rewarded when the Real Madrid and France forward was presented with the Ballon d'Or award after a remarkable season that saw him win the Champions League and become the indispensable for Les Bleus. The 34-year-old, who made his comeback with the national team after a gap of almost 6 years over a blackmail scandal, was pivotal in Real's Champions League and La Liga double. His partnership with Kylian Mbappe, although not perfect, has made the world champion forward line one of the most formidable in the game. Benzema, who has a killer instinct in front of goal, revels in making teammates shine, and the trophy for the best player in the world was just the reward for the selfless forward. Benzema was handed the Ballon d'Or trophy in the Paris theatre by great Zinedine Zidane, the last French player to win the Ballon d'Or in 1998. Spanish international Puertas won the Women's Ballon d'Or for a second year as well in this award season. And this brings us to the end of this episode of Nile TV Live Newsroom, but stay tuned for more here on Nile TV.